Hello.
All right.
Hey, Don, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah. I'm trying to get to my classroom here.
All right. Take your time. Are you on spring break this week or are you just going to school?
We're at school. We had our spring break last week.
Okay. So I just happened to pick a good time that was like a planning or something?
I teaching with another teacher in the gym right now, so he's covering me.
All
So
right.
it works out good.
Okay, good. Well, if it's all right with you, I'll jump in and I'll try to make this quick.
Okay.
All right. You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on our 608 site. Um, I'm gonna review a couple of the things for the end of this course, and then I'll explain the other reason why I wanted to meet. So let's see. So for the remainder of the course, we only have a couple more weeks. Obviously, we're meeting now. You have the forum that's due for the rest of the week, and you jump in if you have questions here. Um,
Okay.
Next week, you could have already started on this, but for next week, you have the two interviews. Those interviews are basically this is posted on our Moodle site, but um, basically it's the questions, answering them here. Um,
Yeah, I started on that.
okay, so it's 12 questions and then two more that you come up for yourself. Um,
Okay.
you can put that in a narrative if you want. You can just use that and answer them below.
Yeah.
Um, Ultimately, use that for um, some of your required hours for the course as well.
Okay.
And then the following week, the last week of the course, the field experience hours is due. Put that in the live text. That's the only document in this course that needs to go in live text.
Okay.
And then the anchor assessment. Okay, similar to the last class. Basically, I guess beginning with the end in mind, the course has some certain expectations. So what I've tried to do is incorporate those into this kind of template, so to speak. For this course, EDA 608 is anchor assessment number 6 is a requirement for the course. So title page, a short introduction. I told you guys this one would probably get bumped up a little bit, but lit review here. So complete a review of literature describing about parent and community involvement in schools. 5-page minimum. I know the essential questions probably seems a little bit odd, but list the essential questions for developing and maintaining a tight-knit school community.
Okay.
Just list those questions. Just put the heading essential questions and list any of the essential questions that you would try to answer.
Okay.
I think you've done this for a previous anchor assessment. You may be able to just revise what you've done before. But so part of this is describing identify the school community, describe the community, the demographics of the students, the staff, parents, involvement, all type of stuff as a separate heading.
Okay.
And then the key findings from your community systems resources. So describe in detail the community systems and resources that you utilize. So, are you using comp care? Are you utilizing I don't know, any programs with the fire department, police officers, anything? I realize in some schools, unfortunately, it might be minimal, but just describe any of the resources out in the community that you're working with. In my experience as a school leader, my family youth service center utilized the community more than I ever even realized sometimes. So if you haven't already, I would definitely address that and speak with anybody who might be doing some things with the school community, but describe that in here. Number 7, social, historical, and political conditions. So just describe the process used to become informed on the social, historical, political conditions of your school, any history about your school, and then describe opportunities that you've used in the past for parent community members. I listed a few of those that are some of your more traditional ways that you bring in parents and community members and stuff like that. But so just describe those. What does you do on the parent nights? Do you have, as an elementary principal, I remember we always did a reading night. We did a math night. We did some art nights before. We always had a spring carnival. Just different stuff like that.
Okay.
Next one, school community barriers, describing in detail relevant barriers that are roadblocks to improving participation in the school community. Just what are some of the roadblocks that are up that you're finding that people don't maybe participate as much as you would think. Maybe you talk to some people and their experience when they were in school wasn't that good, so it kind of doesn't make them feel as comfortable coming in. Maybe talk to some people and feel like they're not welcome.
Okay.
Just some of those things. All right, so now after you've kind of reviewed all that information about the school and the community and their involvement or lack thereof, just describe some steps that can be taken to improve that. So it's kind of like making a game plan, so to speak, on what you could do to improve that, and just describe that process. Write a reflection, a paragraph or two concluding it, any references that you may have used. I know I went through that quickly, but it's similar format as previous anchor assessments, but obviously has a little bit more tailored to community stuff that we're doing now. What questions can you think of on that one at least?
The only thing, when I'm talking about like as a school, do you want me to just focus on the high school where I teach, or can I include like our grade school too? Because we're kind of we're a small school district.
I'll leave that
So,
up to you. The
okay,
minimum would be the school in which you work at. If you wanted to
yeah,
include that in, you're at Paintsville, I think. Is that right?
uh-huh,
All right,
yeah,
yeah. So that's definitely, I can understand that. It's a smaller community. I wouldn't say smaller community, kind of a little bit, but a smaller school district, I guess.
yeah,
So yeah, if you wanted to include that in, that's perfectly fine. Are you guys on the same campus? I'm not. I've never been there.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can walk right to it's
Yeah,
just down the street a little bit.
sure.
I walked back and forth all the time.
Yeah, I would definitely. I think that would be definitely okay to do that in this case. Um, I want to make sure and at least give students the opportunity to ask questions or clarifications on any of this stuff. So before we move on, are there anything else for over the next couple of weeks for the remainder of this course?
No, I don't think so. I think I've gone over most of it.
Okay, sound like you'd already started the process on the interviews. So it sounds like it will just be getting your observation hours documented and put in live text. Obviously, getting this together, and I think it sounds like you should be in good shape. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. The other reason that I wanted to meet was, all right, I believe you were registered for EDA 611 for this summer. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it's never been taught before. They had me put it together. I went through all of the details, and I'm moving over to Moodle for 611. You should have access to view 611 on your own, but I have it in front of you. You'll start to see real quick why I wanted to go ahead, even though we don't start 611 for a couple weeks yet. It ends in the end of this month. Um, there's no book required for 611, but
Okay.
I've been told this is has some similarities to. I think you guys took 605. Was that a
I
class
think
that had a
so.
lot of hours that you had to observe?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's when Dr. Baird came and visited. I think that was the one.
That's correct. Okay, this
Yeah.
class is going to be very similar.
Okay.
I'm going to go through some of the details. There's 45 hours you have to get. It
Okay.
starts in April, and obviously, I'm going to bet you guys get out end of May, very
Yeah.
first of June, probably because it's been a mild winter.
Yeah. Our last day and graduation are set for May 19th.
Okay, so you have then technically less than a month
Yeah.
for a course that has a bunch of hours due, but school lets out then. So once I started developing this and come to the realization that I said, listen, I told, and this is very similar to 605. Um, David Baird's very involved in this class as well. You have to get 45 hours. I thought, okay, I need to go ahead and make you guys aware of all this stuff. Even if you guys, I know you're still finishing up one course, but maybe you start identifying some areas to participate
Okay.
and get your hours and stuff now. Because if I wait until this class starts, for you example, you have what roughly three, not even 4
Three.
weeks.
Yeah.
So
I'll
and
go
that
ahead
was
and
why,
start.
and you guys are getting out a good full, probably a week earlier than we are in Madison County where I'm at. So I'm gonna go through this. Feel free to ask questions, but I felt like I needed to um, talk with you all sooner rather than later. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the syllabus I have here, but I've scrolled down to here we go. Hold on. Here we go. I'm on page 7 of the syllabus that's in for 611 if you want to fill it up later, but obviously you can see it on my screen. So I've tried to keep this, I'm told that in the future they may make this potentially a semester-long course as opposed to a one of the 8-week courses or 7.5, or you want to call it. I've
Okay.
tried to keep not much more than what the bare minimum for the course is expected, just because it is so encompassing with so many hours and stuff. So the bare minimums were 45 observation hours. There is a pretty big anchor assessment at the end, and
Okay.
there was the expectation that you have 5 mandatory observations. And these observations that I'm about to describe can include for your 45 hours. So let's say these 5 observations take you, I don't know, 15 hours. It's still up to you to participate in things and document the remaining hours to get to 45. So I'm going to describe each of the minimum requirements. So for week 1, and similar to other classes I've taught, there's a little calendar that says when different things are due. But the first week of the course, I think the class is worth 150 points. The first week's a little 5-point assignment that just tells you're just asked to take a 1-page write-up. It's just a narrative where you describe your plans for you fulfilling the anchor assessment, completing your 45 hours, reflections, and yada, yada, yada. Basically, it's me forcing you to develop a plan because everybody's plan is going to be a little different. You're going to have to get a ton of your stuff done and completed, sounds like prior to the 19th, unless you have the ability to participate in things that maybe some administrators are doing after school lets out. But it's just after I go through all the requirements here, it might be just you describing some of the things that you're going to do and all that. So I hope that's self-explanatory. It's
Yeah.
just me making you make a plan. That way you're
Okay.
not reaching out to me, June 1 and saying, hey, listen, school's out and I've only got 10 hours done. What do you want me to do? So I'm trying to help avoid that. All right, so number 2 assignments is describing each of the 5 required observations. Each of those is worth 10 points each for 50 points total. And you just basically complete it, complete a reflection on it, and a 1-page reflection. And it's worth 10 points each. You just describing what you did to complete that, any reflecting you had on it. And obviously when you complete it, however much time you spend on it, you can count toward your 45 hours. So observation 1, I basically have given you 4 options to do. You pick one of the 4. So the first one you could pick from is, and this might be something that's after school's out. Maybe you guys have some openings at one of your schools there in the district or at the school you're at, and see if you can get the principal to work with. And maybe I should start over with the fact of you need to get your principal. We'll call it your principal mentor to be on the same page. He or she just knows some of the requirements for this class. It's not like K-TIP, but there are some similarities on. Hopefully, they'll allow you to participate maybe in some things that you otherwise may not have had the ability. But to participate for option 1, pick one of the 4. So the first option you could pick from is participate, and maybe you have an opening. It could be a para, custodian, teacher, whatever. Maybe it's multiple ones, but you participate in interviewing applicants for that open position. You help in the development of forming those interview questions that you're going to ask in an interview in the first place. Participate in actual interviews, reviewing of applications. I don't know what your local policy is, or if you've been on site-based council, but maybe you're involved in when they actually go consult site-based and all that. What's that?
Yeah, I've been a parent on our grade school site base.
Okay, so it may take multiple forms for you, but maybe you participate as a teacher at one school and as a parent on another. You could do multiple ones of these, but I guess I'm thinking of somebody practicing to hopefully one day be a principal of you just vet applications, go through the process, all the full kit and caboodle, so to speak. So basically participate in that. It can be more than one. Document the hours. Write a 1-page reflection for it. B, C, and D, I don't go as in detail, but you could just simply attend a local school board meeting. Just discuss what happened. Document your time. It could be a school site-based council meeting. Discuss what happened, and then fourthly, I don't know if I know you're in a smaller district, but maybe there's a I don't know, sometime between now, I mean, you can start these today if you want to. That's why I'm telling you, but it doesn't have to be in the time frame of when the actual course is. But maybe there's some sort of district administrator meeting sometime between now and when the class ends. Um, you can just attend with your principal, and maybe I know in our district there's a principal meeting where they may discuss some relevant things that are going on in the district at that time or some year-end stuff. But basically, as I'm kind of viewing this as I don't know, you're acting as kind of like an assistant principal, and you get tagged along and be a fly on the
Yeah.
wall for some of these meetings. Obviously,
Okay.
one of them you need to pick is required for the course. Then you can do other ones. You won't have to reflect on it, but you could use it for just the observation hours alone. But
Okay.
for option one, complete it, document the hours, write a one-page reflection.
Okay.
Number two, it's a little vague here on purpose, but you do need to attend some sort of meeting that's required for the course that deals with either budgeting for the next school year or for the remainder of the school year, or deals with how you are allocated employees for the next school year. So, once again, I'm in a little bit of a larger school district, and maybe we do things a little different. Just because we're larger and do it different doesn't make it right or wrong. But we actually, in my district, we sit down. Remember, I'm human resources. We sit down with the principal, superintendent, one of our assistant superintendents, and we kind of look at it and say, okay, such and such schools. Right now, you qualify for 25 teachers, and next year you need 26.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. So and so's retiring, such and such person's resigning. That results in us posting 3 teachers, or any of those type of meetings you attend and reflect. It may deal with budgeting with Section 6 funds, Title 1 funds. It may deal
Okay.
with employees, all that. But attend the meeting. It may be an opportunity to get a little educated on some things on the front end, or maybe after the meeting, you get in the car or you're walking back to your school. In your case, I guess, and Principal so and so. Okay, talk to me a little bit about Section 6 funds, and you're using them for what again? You're going to leave one of those meetings with 50 questions, I bet. So obviously the observation's important, so that my goal is, okay, you've done one of these, you've seen what goes on. I don't care who you are, you're going to leave that meeting with 50 questions and then have that opportunity to ask those questions to that principal. So you're learning things in the meeting, you're learning things from the questions that arise that you get to ask later. Write a
Mm-hmm.
one-page reflection.
Okay.
Are there a couple options that are coming to mind that you're hoping
Yeah.
that you might be able to participate in?
Yeah, and they're starting the allocation stuff right now.
Yeah,
So that'll
and it's another reason we're the same way. We do 2 rounds of those in Madison County. We've done
mm-hmm.
round one. We're about to do round two. So good. That's
Yeah.
another reason. I was thinking of, okay, if I was a student in this course and I was working in Madison County, if I wait 3 weeks, I may have missed that opportunity.
Yeah.
So there we go. Okay, good. So we're clear on there's the observation and the questioning, but also a one-page reflection after it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if you do observations 1 and 2 tomorrow. I don't give a hoot. So, all right. Observation 3 that's required. All right. So this one's more of a little, some of them I'm trying to keep realistic, but this
Yeah.
observation 3, Georgetown has said you must, this is kind of mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pick from 1 or 2 here. So observation 3, participate in a mock media interview related to a school issue, and you need to video record this interview.
Okay.
You're going to submit this video recording to your college observer. That is David Baird again.
Okay.
All right. Also complete a reflection at the end of the interview. Complete the required district training regarding conducting an interview. So we kind of put that on the end there is ask your principal, is there any sort of in Paintsville's district required training that you do before you're allowed to speak with media? I doubt it, but maybe there is. So if there is, do it. But you're going to do a fake media interview. So you might just have, I'm going to read both of these examples. You pick one of them, and then just have somebody in your building, specifically your head principal, help give you
Okay.
guidance, and then maybe
Mhm.
they just act as a I don't know, the reporter or something and record it. So option
Okay.
one, choose one of the following scenarios for this mock interview. Number one, and what's on here is all the info you have. Anything that's not answers, you guys make up. So yesterday at the end of the school day, one of your students at your school fell asleep on the bus. The bus driver parked their bus at their home after completing their bus route, and they didn't check their bus for students like they're supposed to. The student was left on the bus alone for 30 minutes. The child woke up, went to the bus driver residence, and the parents are extremely upset and have contacted the media. So basically, I'm envisioning this being elementary or middle school, but not necessarily have to be. But this is it didn't quite go this bad for me, but this is fairly real. I had an elementary student fell asleep on the bus. Bus driver made all their stops. They got home. They parked their bus at their house. They're supposed to walk the bus, but they didn't. And kid was asleep on there. And they went in their house. So this kid, this is just an example we just made up here. The kid didn't just woke up, realized that, hey, there's nobody here. Bus driver's gone. And they walked up to the house. For obvious reasons, the parents are ticked off.
Yeah.
Go. And then you act like the media. So I'm thinking of things of, what are some of the questions that you think a reporter might ask and how are you going to handle them? So obviously not an easy one, but see, that's one option. All right, number two you can pick from if you'd rather do this one is, all right, so during lunch, a large fight took place between two students. The fight takes place for 15 or 20 seconds without any adults or students intervening to attempt to break up this fight. During the fight, one student pulls a knife out of his pocket to attempt to defend himself. Multiple observing students record the fight on their phones, and they put it up on all sorts of social media. No students were seriously injured, and the knife was never used. So I guess I'm getting at is that he pulls the knife out, he kind of uses it to deter. He doesn't actually stab anybody or swing anybody. It was one of those of maybe he was the one that was taking the whipping, and after the whipping a little bit, he pulls a knife out. The media
Okay.
has shared the video on the news, and they're asking for you to comment because you're currently the principal.
Okay.
He's outraged by the lack of supervision that took place. Remember, this fight went on for 15, 20 seconds, and the video doesn't show anybody breaking it up. So they're
Okay.
outraged at the lack of supervision, and they're wondering how a student would have the opportunity to bring a knife to school. And they throw a camera in your face and ask some questions.
Okay.
You go. So I will own the fact that these are pretty difficult scenarios, but so you're going to record it and you're going to share that with David Baird.
Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
Number four. All right. Once again, this is no. You don't have options to pick here. This is one you have to do. Participate in some sort of end of the school year ceremony. It could be any sort of graduation for high school, middle school, elementary school, kindergarten. Assist in the planning, communicating to parents and the public, help set up for the event. And ideally, I'd like you to participate in the event, not necessarily have to speak at it, but you said you're at a high school, right?
Yeah, I do senior breakfast and stuff every year, so
There
we're
you
good.
go. There you go. So something that involves obviously I'm trying to incorporate some community involvement, but also I'm
Yeah.
trying to seize the opportunity of okay, if you were a principal and you have it's the end of the school year, this is something that you may not be 100% hands-on, but you're going to be participating in. Maybe other people do it, but okay, so this one you help organize, you help
Yeah.
inform parents, the public, social media stuff, whatever, participate in the cleanup, all that stuff. So I'd like to think in most schools there's going to be that you're sitting there thinking of, oh man, this is an easy one. Maybe even one you already do anyway, even if I didn't make it part of the course, So I don't care what it is. You just participate, document the time you spend on it, write me a one-page reflection.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then the last required observation also involves David Baird. All right. And basically, he wants you to, this kind of piggybacks on the anchor assessment that I'm going to describe, but I'm going to describe the anchor assessment when we're done here, but basically you're going to set up a time where he can come, your
Mm-hmm.
principal mentor can come, and you're going to form a small committee of people, whether that be other faculty members, community members, staff, site-based council, whatever. And I'm going to describe that anchor assessment. But basically, you're going to be identifying an issue and helping go through the data with that issue, developing an action plan with that issue with your committee. And when you're all done, you're going to present the process that you went through. It's a presentation, the process, what the data said, what your next steps are, and using technology, PowerPoint or something, you're going to present that. David Baird's and your principal are both going to evaluate you and give you feedback on it, but basically you're going to present that. So complete a complete one presentation. uh, they're going to be in person of
Okay.
your anchor assessment with your principal mentor, David Baird, and the committee that you formed to go through this process. And I tried to put on there from Baird's experiences about how long and what you should do. So he did want you to use technology. He wanted you to be able to talk for 30 to 45 minutes about it. That includes, people asking questions and stuff like that. So when the class starts, he is going to, I'm going to have a form that you'll have. I think you did this for 605 of how you filled it out, sent it to David, and kind of got you on the same page for what you're going to be doing, even when the meeting's going to be. Is that about right?
Yeah, we had a little timeline thing.
Yep. Okay, so that's what he's going to do. So completing all 5 of these, obviously every single minute that you spend on it, you can document. Anything else that does not get to 45 hours, you do need to fill in the gaps. Maybe this takes you 20 hours and you need 25 more, but of observation hours or different things that you participate in, and document that in live text. So once again, you can go ahead and start that. The only thing that should not happen is there shouldn't be overlap for hours that you use for the course that you're in right now. The
Okay.
time should be different, or the observations should be different. So I think you're probably seeing pretty quickly why I felt so urgent to make you guys aware of this. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And then the anchor assessment, I guess. So what you're going to be working with, you're presenting for that observation number 5. So I put it in the syllabus here, but it's probably better that, and this is also under week 7, I believe. Yeah, under week 7 of the 611 course, I describe the anchor assessment number 8,
Okay.
just like I've done for other courses. So basically, I'll on the fact on that this is how they describe it in the syllabus and stuff. Other people have written. I'm trying to include that in here to make it, simply follow this, that you will have answered and done everything that the course expects you to complete. So I'm going to go through that a little bit, similar to how we just did for the other course. Title page, an introduction about the entire event, just a paragraph or two.
Okay.
Number 3, review the school and school community. Once again, you're doing this for 608. You may have to tweak it just a little bit, but probably not a lot.
Okay.
That's my goal. Number 4, analyzing some data. Once again, you've done this in some other classes, but make sure you hit all these details. So you need to describe how you collected, summarized, and synthesized the pertinent information. Describe all the different sources of data that you used, whether it was your school CSIP or your district CDIP, school improvement plan, or school improvement, your district school improvement plan, teledata, K-Prep data, all that. Describe what you use, where you found all that. Utilize any other available resources that describes your specific school or your school district. what you learned. So describe that in very well detailed, all those different points. Some of the things that you found that were relevant. You don't have to describe everything that you found, but just things that stuck out to you. Maybe the tell data says that from parents that, we don't come to Painesville stuff because, it's not very welcoming or something. I'm just making stuff up. I've not looked at it, but describe those key findings in here. The essential questions, once again, I find it kind of odd, but they make that a requirement. And then you need to a few times have sat down. That's where I was talking about this committee. Maybe your head principal, and some community members, site-based council, some faculty. Maybe it's just your department at your school or something. But go through this process of, okay, group, here's all the data. Let's review it together. Maybe do that at one meeting. Next
Okay.
meeting, you sit down and, okay, based on the data we looked at, what are some things we're going to do to help make, we don't expect you to identify 10 of them. You might just identify a couple, 2 or 3 at tops. And I'd rather you pick a couple and do them well. What are some couple areas that we can make some improvements, and describe those? Describe how often you met, when you met, where you met, what relevant information did you look at, who was involved in the committee, and then number 8, describe what you're recommending you do. Once again, there might be 30 things you could do, but just pick, I would think 2 to 3 at tops.
Okay.
So once you have your recommendation, then it's kind of like your goals. What are some things that you are going to do, kind of like step by step of, what are you going to do to address that? So here in 8, you're just identifying it and identifying the end goal. But 9 is going to be all the little details that is very detailed. We're going to have, based on the feedback, we're going to tweak this and do it on this day. And, this is kind of 8's your goals and your ultimate goal or goals. 9's kind of all the little details that you do to work toward that goal. And then 10 through 13 is, I guess 10 through 12, just like you had a little short intro, a short conclusion, a one-page reflection on this overarching process that you went through, from looking at data to the collaboration to setting goals and things like that. Any references that you have. And then kind of, I'm envisioning kind of at the end of all this of, this is artifact A and artifact B or whatever, but, it might be just some agendas that you had from when you guys met, to some of the resources, to meetings of minutes and things like that. So I know that sounds pretty big. I envision you having meetings and doing lots of observations between now and school getting out. Then when school gets out, you have a while to work through, once you've done everything, of putting all this together in a very comprehensive anchor assessment document, and having your one-on-one meeting, or your meeting with your group. Throwing a ton at you right now. I will own that. But are there questions that stick out so far?
No. Mm-mm.
I've informed you of all of them now. So how does this look for the course? The course starts April the 26th.
Okay.
That week's when you're going to turn in your little 5-point, one-page plan is worth 5 points, just describing what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, make a plan for the course.
Okay.
And then remember, you have 5 required observations. For weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you are to submit one of those each week. I don't care if week 2 you say, hey, I completed observation 4. Here's my one-page reflection.
Okay.
In week 3, I did observation 2, and here's my one-page reflection. All that. Just make sure you tell me which one, and submit your one-page reflection. So weeks 2 through 6, you are just completing one of the 5. So obviously, week 6 is going to be whichever one you haven't done yet. That's probably going to be your the presentation. That's the observation.
Okay.
And I realized that week 6, you need to do your um, I'm sorry, not your observation, but your presentation, I guess. I mean, if you're a tad late on something like that, I can work with you. But and then week 7's the anchor assessment. So 7-week course. Week 1's your plan. 2 through 6 is completing each of the 5 required observations. Week 7, you turn in your observation hours and the anchor assessment. I've not added anything else except for what's required for the course. So, which I think is more than plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you don't know me that well, but how overwhelmed are you right now? Be honest.
Just a tad. I'm just really trying to think, okay, what am I going to do it on? That's the hardest, is trying to find what you're going to do it on
For
and going
me,
through all.
hey, Ben, I didn't realize you were here. Have you been here for a while, Ben?
Well, no, unfortunately, I got into the meeting about 20 minutes late, but I've been on here since about, I don't know, 10 till or so.
Okay. You've probably gotten most of
I'm
it.
so,
Um,
yeah, I'm sorry. We're actually on spring break, and I coach baseball, and I'm in between games and trying to catch a little of this meeting and hopefully maybe the beginning of this afternoon's meeting so I can get it all in.
All right. I'll try to put up the recording of this as well.
That'd be awesome.
So you can maybe watch the beginning of that. Maybe Don and Ben, both of you, maybe you a week from now, you're like, man, I forget exactly what the details were about that, and you can pull it up again. So I'll put that up here in a little while. Um, but so first with you, Don, I would recommend that you first just get 4 or 5 people in a committee on board. One of them needs to be your principal mentor. Set up a couple meetings, and I would just try to let the process. Don't try to come up with the end result. I'd let the process work for itself. Meaning, hey, committee, we're going to take 45 minutes one day, and we're just going to look at data, data, state testing data, just some information about our group, about our school, our results, any kind of information you have, and just look at it. And just look at the data and see what rises to the top of. Maybe you look through there and be like, you know what? I didn't realize based on such and such data that we were lacking in, this parent involvement, or our scores here are awful, or something like that. We would prefer that this work with, I'm going to go back to the anchor assessment. We would prefer that, it's something that you have control over. I'm trying to see if there's anything that's pertinent here. The big thing is that it's collaborative. So it probably wouldn't be very collaborative if you have the answer when you walk in there. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't try to have what that answer is. I'd let the process take its course here of reviewing some school data, and things like that, and see what happens when you go through the process. Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know that might make you feel vulnerable or uncomfortable, but just look at data as a group, take their information and what they see into account, and see what comes forward here. You don't have to have all the answers there. I think I would just provide some of the different information here, and whether it be school improvement plan, TEL, K-Prep, any information that's historical about your school district or the conditions that's going on in your community, and just look at the data and see what comes. So maybe like I said, one meeting, you look at data. Next one, you brainstorm ideas. Based on those ideas, identify, 2 or 3 tops. It may be, if it's a big one, maybe it's just one. But then go through that information and develop an action plan for how you plan to do it, and do it as a group. Then remember at the end, Ben, I think you caught this part. At the end, you put everything together for your anchor assessment number 8. Ben, I don't know how far you came into this, but I'm talking about the classes for this summer.
Right.
Okay, you caught that.
Good.
I'd work through that process and then put all that information to your anchor assessment paper. But then that also will complete here we go. Observation 5 then to the same people that helped you go through that. You may add some if you want, but do a presentation about it using some sort of technology. So Don, you've been on here the whole time. I'll go with you first. What other questions can you think of?
None right now. I'm just kind of going through all the notes here.
Right. And
I don't really have any.
So once again, my reason for doing this a couple weeks, almost 3 or 4 weeks before the class actually starts is you have to get 45 hours. There are 5 required observations. The first little 5 points that's going to be due the first week of the course will be just give me a 1-pager describing, what you do when you plan to do it. It might be like, hey, observation 1, I've decided to do, my principal and I have gotten on the same page. I'm going to participate in going through some interviews with staff. We've decided we're going to do that on such and such week. It's for an open math position that we have. My anchor assessment, the group I've identified, I don't know, it's these 5 people. We have meetings set up for these days. It's kind of one of those of, it might be a lot of different dates and people and all that. I'm going to give you credit for just having a plan, but I also wanted to give you realizing that there's a lot of different observations and a lot of hours and observations you have to do, of kind of giving you a few days to chew on it for a little bit, develop your own little plan. Ben, when are you guys out of school? All right. Well, Don, you're
okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. When will you guys be out of school, Ben?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I am unsure of the exact date, but it's around May the 22nd or something like that.
Yeah. So yours and Don.
We've been fortunate not to have any snow, so.
Right. We're the same way in Madison County. We're getting out earlier than normal. There's just a lot that needs to get done. So I felt like I needed to make you guys aware of this because of, ideally this course would be better for to have taken place when it was actually in the school year. But I felt like once I became aware of this and actually had the course developed, I felt like, man, we need to meet about 608, but also I need to make you aware of 611's requirements as soon as possible. So Don, Ben, I will stay on for as long as you want if you have questions. Otherwise, I'm going to post this recording. You can watch it again if you need to, but I'm an email away if you have questions, or maybe we need to set up, you have enough questions that maybe you'd like to set up a phone call or another one of these one-on-one sometime. I can make that happen.
Okay, great.
Okay. I'm done, but I'll stay behind if you have questions. Otherwise, feel free to go, or I'll stand here if you want to talk anymore. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Uh-huh. Ben, did you have anything?
Are you still there?
I sure am.
Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. My connection's not too good, and I lost you for a minute. No, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to watch the video.
Okay.
Of this.
Yeah, I understand that, people I know you said you had something with baseball, and it might not have been the best time. I'll put the recording on there. Dawn reached out to me because I think she coaches volleyball or something, and wasn't going to be able to attend tonight. And I was like, man, it's so important. I'll offer 2 times, but if you wait here just a little while and you get and look under where all the information is posted for this week, I'll have
hopefully I
that.
can jump
All right. Thank
on
you.
this afternoon for a little bit as well.
Okay.
If
That
that's
works,
okay.
buddy. You let me know. Yes, that's fine. You let me know if you have any other questions, okay?
Connection.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on? Well, I was on.
Thank you.
Do what?